It uses many of Driver's exact words without saying that. Descriptive. A story usually shows what its characters are like and how they feel. When you write, try to use actions and dialogue to show these things about your characters. Doing so helps bring your characters to life for the reader. For example, maybe you want to show that your character is embarrassed. Maya's face turned red, and she ducked her head. Did everyone see that? Maya stuttered. People often blush and stutter when they're embarrassed. Either of these sentences would help show the reader how Maya is feeling. Revise the sentences. When you write, choose your verbs carefully. Strong verbs can add extra information and make your writing more interesting. For example, here is the same sentence with two different verbs. Marissa went to the lunch counter when she heard they were serving pizza. Marissa bolted to the lunch counter when she heard they were serving pizza. Both sentences tell you that Marissa went to the lunch counter. But the second sentence uses a stronger verb. Bolted tells you that Marissa went to the lunch counter quickly. Add imagery to the story. When you write a story, you should try to create scenes that are easy for the reader to picture. You can do this by adding imagery or descriptive details that help the reader imagine exactly what is happening in the story. Here are some examples of ways you can revise your writing to include more imagery. Add details. Details can help the reader picture what is happening in the story. Joshua and Kyle were having a picnic in the middle of a grassy field. Use strong verbs. Strong verbs can add extra information and make your writing more interesting. Raj screeched when his sister jumped out of the closet wearing a monster mask. Add sensory details. Sensory details can help the reader imagine a sight, sound, smell, taste, or touch more clearly. Louisa hugged the snow-white baby goat in her lap, feeling his soft, fluffy fur in her hands. Show, don't tell. You can bring your characters to life when you use actions and dialogue to show what characters are like and how they feel, rather than just telling about them. I can't believe it, roared Calvin, his face dark red. He stormed out and slammed the door behind him. Create varied sentences. To make your writing more interesting, try to use a mix of different kinds of sentences. You can learn to make new kinds of sentences by imitating sentences that you read. To imitate a model sentence, first look at its form or pattern. Ask what sorts of words, phrases, and clauses the sentence uses and what order they are in. Then, create a new sentence following the same pattern. Model sentence. The mouse's name was Tucker, and he was sitting in the opening of an abandoned drain pipe in the subway station at Times Square. George Selden, the cricket in Times Square. Copyright 1960. New sentence. The old ship is called Old Ironsides, and it can be seen in a dry dock at a museum in Charlestown, Massachusetts. Both sentences use and to make a compound sentence. They also both use words like in and at to tell where the subject is. Confused words. Certain words are often confused with one another. In your writing, you should pay close attention to these words and make sure you are using them correctly. For example, fewer and less have similar meanings, but you should use them differently. Use fewer to describe things you can count, like pencils. Use less to describe things you can't count, like water. Fewer people than expected came to watch the race. Our town received less snow this winter due to the heat wave. Affect and effect have similar spellings and can sound the same, but they have different meanings. Affect is usually a verb that means to change or influence. Effect is usually a noun that means an outcome or result. Our team was losing, but I tried not to let that affect my performance. The new medicine has an amazing effect on cold symptoms.
Plagiarism. Plagiarism occurs when you use someone else's words or ideas and present them as your own. For example, look at the following text from Golfing Like a Pro by Woodrow T. Driver. Learning how to putt is the single most important skill that golfers should practice to improve their game. A student used the information above to write the following report about golf. Golf is an amazing game. To get better, you have to practice several different skills. The single most important skill that golfers should practice to improve their game is putting on the green. The underlined sentence plagiarizes Woodrow Driver's text. It uses many of Driver's exact words without saying that they belong to him.